Andrew wrote to us, loved the podcast. I'm reading The Psychology of Money. It's a great book, by the way, by Morgan Housel. Is it? Is that how you say it? Yeah.
Housel.
Deals with like cognitive biases and some of the mind traps that we have around money. I mean, The Psychology of Money kind of says it all. He asks, so Morgan talks in the book about having enough. What is and will be enough for Damo and T? Before we go into this, T, do you want to read that little section?
Well, as the best reader here, sure.
Mate, all you do is Blinkist.
A little summary of it. All right, so first book I've read in a while. John Bogle, the Vanguard founder who passed away in 2019, once told a story about money that highlights something we don't think about enough. At a party given by a billionaire on Shelter Island, I've been there, Kurt Vonnegut informs his pal, Joseph Heller, that their host, a hedge fund manager, had made more money in a single day than Heller had earned from his wildly popular novel, Catch-22, over its whole history. Heller responds, yes, but I have something he will never have. Enough.
Deep.
I know.
I did some research recently around achieving financial goals. And one of the things is that a brain needs like a clear and defined goal to be able to break it down. If we have like big abstract goals, like be rich, the brain really struggles with that to process how we get there. And we end up fantasizing about winning the lottery. So if you have a defined number, your brain then finds it much easier and you're much more likely to hit that. It's like the whole set a goal, hit the goal.
5 mil.
5 mil.
Yeah. You know, when I was a kid, I always thought like $1 million, once I got £1 million, I'll be set for like, £1 million is not very much money nowadays.
No.
But I don't even think 5 mil is that much money, to be honest. But
I think 5 mil is a lot of money, but.
Yeah, but if you start thinking about properties, like if you have like, say you want a property in California, a property in London,
this is where it goes.
A property in like Dubai or like south of France.
Just enough.
Yeah, just a couple of those, you're gonna be looking at like 5 mil.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want a villa somewhere, they're around 1 to 2 million. So then you've only got 3 mil left. So, and then you got your house where you live. So I think.
So you want 3 houses?
Yeah, I want 3. Maybe like 2.
Paid off?
Yeah. 1 house paid off and then like holiday homes.
Yeah.
So you can rent them out for the rest of the year when you're not there.
And would you live off that money?
Yeah. The passive income.
Yeah.
It's all about the coming in every month.
Yeah. Mine's a bit more like, I'm not that bothered about the property. I'd like a paid off house, obviously, but £2 million inside of a stocks and shares ISA invested in a global index fund, because that produced me about 80 grand a year tax free, 60 to 80. And I mean, you know, I wouldn't say no to 3 million in there, but like 2 million's probably enough.
But my main things, I like to travel a lot. So, you know, obviously I want...
80 grand a year tax free, I can travel on that. And there's another story in the book that I remember about like a really successful Indian entrepreneur who moved over from poverty in India, went to America, was worth hundreds of millions, but legitimately, but ended up going to prison because he committed fraud, because he was desperate to be a billionaire, because he felt, you know, like the poorest person in the room kind of thing. So I think enough is about defining what enough is to you so you know when you hit it. If you have a loose goal around it, you never hit it. And then you get there and you see another mountain, another horizon, and you start trying to climb that, don't you?
Yeah. And I think another thing is people don't really think about, like, you hear about people who win the lottery and people always say, oh, if I just had £1 million or I had like $500,000, I'd be set for life. But then you don't realize once you get that $500,000 or $1 million, you get a bigger house and then you've got a garden. So you got to pay for a gardener and you're like, oh, I got a pool, but then you got to maintain the pool, or you get a nicer car and that costs more to change the tires, costs more to change the engine. So I think people don't always think about when you get that money, everything in your life is going to suddenly become more expensive. So you see like all these millionaires who like 50 Cent end up selling their £50 million house because they couldn't afford the maintenance of like the garden and the ground. So
you can afford the Lambo, but can you put the fuel in it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think people that's why it's good to have a serious number, a tangible target, because otherwise you're not really prepared for the additional costs.
It just acts as like a flag in the ground that when you get there, you go, I said I would be happy when I had this.
Yeah.
I'm still miserable. What's going on?
I want more.
Yeah, no, but at least it acts as a checkpoint. Whereas, you know, just the constant pursuit of more is that hedonic adjustment thing where you're just on a treadmill and it just keeps running faster and faster and you never feel satisfied, you know? So I think set a clear number for you. That's 5 million, 3 homes. For me, it's 2 million inside of an ISA.
You love an ISA, don't you?
Yeah, love it. Tax free. So we throw around numbers like 2 and 5 million. They're obviously a lot. 5 million is a lot of money, even though you don't think it is. But yeah, I mean, 2 million, and I know it can sound big and a bit unrelatable, but it's actually quite achievable if you invest consistently over a long period of time. You know, for me, that's the the 2 million figure is the point where I could be like, okay, I can retire now and not work if I wanted to.
I mean, 5 million might seem a little bit much, but if you put the steps in place and you've got a solid foundation of investments, it is achievable. I mean, I know quite a few.
You live in London and everything's more expensive down
Everything's more expensive in London. I know quite a few people who've made millions like at a young age.
Not you though.
Not me, not yet. Obviously, some of them might have been in crypto, so some of them got a bit lucky. But there are things, if you get investments in early enough, and if you compounding to get something very undervalued. If you're looking at a long-term play, not like in the next 5 years, I'm gonna have 5 million. But if I'm looking at next 20, 30 years, I think it's very achievable.
Yeah.